Welcome to the Kara Walker presentation by Ashwin S. Kumar.
Kara Walker was a famous artist born on November 26, 1969, in Stockton, California.
I'm Kara Walker, and my new commission for SF MoMA is called Fortuna and the Immortality Garden Machine. How a lot of my work arises is that I kind of get an interest and I do a little bit of research and I start trying to figure out how it connects with my thoughts about, having a black body and its abstractions as they've been concocted through colonial exploits and through chattel slavery and the attempts over decades and centuries of trying to reclaim our humanity from the power narratives that have destroyed it or mechanized that body. But without really realizing it at the time, I was just thinking about the cyborg nature of having a black body in the first place. The project really came about when I got COVID. I had already been thinking about illness and death and the stasis that we all encountered during these long months of lockdown and quarantine. And it really became a creative exercise for me. Like, what does it mean to have a body if I can extend it with media? If everything that I am mediating my life with is contained on a single screen, where does the soul live became one of the questions. Will the viewer encounter a kind of mechanical wonderland, a kind of circus-like atmosphere, but a circus-like atmosphere of automata. I was thinking of them as the prototypes for a whole new group of humanoid cyborgs. They're all portraits of archetypal figures that will populate the centerpiece of the garden at SF MoMA. I began working with unfired air-dry clay. I just started trying to figure out who these characters might be. And they took on different sorts of forms, some familiar, some unfamiliar. And from there, we made a 3D scan of each one. So those 3D scans could be used to make bronzes or CNC cutouts, whatever we want. Over the course of the last months, we've gotten a few test prints, and I thought, maybe it's as simple as a version of paper mache, which just changes the surface enough and brings my hand back into the final stages of the process, because it is a piece where it goes from the hand to the machine, back to the hand a couple of times. And with my treating the bodies or the heads, or whatever parts might be exposed, with tissue paper or Gampi paper, a little bit of gold leaf in places, just a few little handmade elements, I think, brings it some vitality or some life that I think is important. In the Roberts Family Gallery, the viewer will encounter a series of 3 display areas that's populated by robotic black figures that seem to have emerged from the past or perhaps from the future. Those two concepts collide in this work. There's a central display area that I'm calling the settee, and in this settee is a field of obsidian, and on that field of obsidian are 6 of the 8 automata performing a ritual of a resurrection. The obsidian sort of fulfills the role of the natural element in the space, doing the sort of energetic work that a plant might do in another setting. Fortuna of the title is overseeing the proceedings and offering missives, fortunes, non sequiturs in the form of little paper slips or absolutions for the visitor. My history with San Francisco is kind of informed by a kind of love, for the beauty of the place. And I've failed to kind of understand its transformations over the last couple of decades. And I think one of those changes is the housing crisis and the sort of depopulation of the city, that there are fewer and fewer Black people in a population that seemed from the Second World War on to be, somewhat thriving, or at least present. It's interesting to sort of engage with this version of technology in a location that has so much invested in new technology. It's a bit of a struggle to sort of feel like the city is thriving in the way that it could. So for me, I felt I needed to learn the language of the place that I've been engaging with, instead of what I had been doing was thinking about what was lost. Making a large public installation that lives in the space for a long period of time means that it's going to encounter, many different types of people, different groups. Everybody's going to bring their reaction to the piece into the space, and I think that's beautiful. I think the one thing that I know that I can provide, even if the work doesn't make sense, is I can provide a place to sit, which is one of my primary goals as an artist, is to just make you comfortable.
Why was she known? Because of her large-scale, intricate silhouettes and installations that explore themes of race, gender, sexuality, and power dynamics. Where is he? She lives and works in New York City. What did she do? Walker received her BFA from the Atlanta College of Art in 1991 and her MFA from the Rhode Island School of Design in 1994. Her significant exhibitions are Kara Walker, My Compliment, My Enemy, My Appraiser, My Love, 2007, at the Walker Arts Center. Another exhibition was Kara Walker, A Subletti, 2014, at the Domino's Sugar Factory in Brooklyn. The critical assessment of three prominent works are The Jubilant Martyrs of Obsolescence and Ruin, 2015, a large-scale installation that explores the legacy of slavery and racism, a subtlety. 2014, a massive sugar sculpture that critiques the history of slavery and colonialism and Darkytown Rebellion. 2001, a series of silhouettes that reimagine the antebellum South. The historical reference point is that Walker's work is often contextualized within the tradition of African American art and the history of slavery and racism in the United States. Her use of silhouettes also references the work of 18th-century European artists such as Jean-Honoré Fragonard. Walker's work has influenced many artists, including those who share her concerns with race, gender, and power dynamics. Her use of installation and performance has also inspired many young artists to experiment with new forms of art making. How has Kara Walker's work influenced you or aligned with your concerns or strategies as an artist? Please note that this is a personal response, and you should adjust it according to your own experiences and artistic practices. Here's a possible answer. Kara Walker's work has influenced me through her unapologetic exploration of race and gender, encouraging me to confront and challenge the status quo in my own art making. Her use of installation and performance has also inspired me to experiment with new forms of art making, pushing the boundaries of traditional mediums. Additionally, Walker's commitment to critiquing the legacy of slavery and racism has aligned with my own concerns with social justice, motivating me to create art that sparks necessary conversations and sparks change.